one in the high street, the other on allotment land behind houses. Within minutes, the village was devastated. It wasn't a military target. The Germans were merely offloading the leftovers of their deadly cargoes on their return from London. 16 men, women and children died. At least 25 more were left homeless. 2 of the villagers narrowly survived to recall this week the events of that day. Evelyn Bates, then a 31-year-old bookkeeper, was cycling back to the same house she lives in today. Sylvia Cox, then 22, was walking up this stretch of the high street when the bombs dropped within feet of her.
As we turned into the high street, there was a new pub on the left, Red Lion. Crossed that space and we ran, and in those days it was quite possible to run quickly. One doorknob found it, opened the door and went in, and that's when the first landmine dropped. So the one thought I had was, what a pity I haven't said goodbye to anybody. And here I am all these years later.
Yes, so you were really fairly lucky because an awful lot of the village was devastated.
Lucky. Very, very lucky indeed. Because people a few yards away were killed.
Well, even you were really even luckier, because if you got home, that would have been it.
Oh yes, well if I'd have got us to the first bridge, I wouldn't probably have been here now, because it was just one mass of rubble, bricks and goodness knows what. Now I got home, I don't know.
Once the immediate impact of the bombs had happened and gone, what did you do?
Somebody put a poor woman, it was that Mrs. Capper,
oh yeah,
into my arms. She said, will you take her up to the surgery?
Yes.
Because they'd thrown that open.
Yes, they had.
And I took her up, and she was badly cut all down, but she was crying out for her 2 children.
Who were killed.
And she said, would I find them and let her know? Well, I came back and started to go into the house to see if I could find them. And a warden said, who are you looking for? I said, I'm looking for the 2 little Kappa children. And he said, oh, it's all right. He says, we found them. But he said, unfortunately, they've been blasted. They were dead.
It was the worst attack on a small Kent village during the whole war. Half Surrey High Street lay in ruins. Not a house escaped destruction or damage. The upper part of the High Street is much as it was in 1941. The rest is entirely new.
We have really got some good things that have come. The warden-assisted flats for the elderly folk, Franklin House, are on one side of the road, and on the other side we've got flats that are also in connection by telephone, so that's helpful. And of course, 10 years ago, almost just 10 years ago exactly, we opened our new library, Kent County Library. And it had been in a shower bang, it's been in a small room before that. It was very, very difficult to change your books, but that really is something good that came out of it.
That went up instead of the Red Lion pub.
Oh, you've got plenty of pubs left over.
Both Sylvia and Evelyn still live in Surrey. Sylvia is a church warden and has recorded the names of those who died that night in a book of remembrance in the parish church. Evelyn's memories of the bombing are still clear, including the supper she never had. It was still waiting for her the next morning, covered in soot.
The village of Surrey, exactly 45 years ago, the night the bomb fell. In fact, I think it's almost to the minute.